The last time I talked about South Carolina on this podcast, we were discussing how South Carolina once again had to teach the SEC a lesson for sleeping on the Gamecocks, for sleeping on the Beamer Boys. Every season, South Carolina gets doubted because they don't recruit as well as some of the elite programs like Georgia and Alabama. They got to rely on good evaluation and great player development. They have to rely on being able to find steals and hidden gems in the transfer portal, which Shane Beamer does a really good job of. South Carolina this year, what makes this team one that nobody should be overlooking is the improvement that they've made on offense. They have a new offensive coordinator. Mike Shula was promoted to the position in-house. He served as South Carolina's quarterbacks coach last year. Now with Daryl Loggins departing to take the Appalachian State head coaching job, he's going to be calling the shots for South Carolina's offense this year. And I believe that South Carolina offensively is going to be more explosive with Mike Shula calling plays than what they were with Daryl Loggins calling the plays, because Mike Shula, unlike Loggins, has a ton of NFL experience. And Len'Noris Sellers is already one of the best quarterbacks in college football entering this season. He gets a lot of comparisons to Cam Newton. And you want to know what's ironic about Len'Noris Sellers receiving these Cam Newton comparisons? Mike Shula was Cam Newton's offensive coordinator during Cam Newton's prime in the NFL. He was Cam Newton's offensive coordinator the year Cam Newton could not be stopped by the NFL, and he won MVP and took the Panthers to the Super Bowl in 2015. Is that not ironic? Tell me it's not ironic that Len'Noris Sellers, who gets so many Cam Newton comparisons, ironically gets the guy who had a large part in Cam Newton's best season ever. So when you have an offensive coordinator that already has familiarity with building an offense around a quarterback with the skill set that Cam Newton has, you can only imagine that that's going to elevate Len'Noris Sellers' production. He's not learning a new system. Daryl Loggins, the same plays, the same system he was running, Mike Shula is going to be running, but he's going to be able to add his own spin on things. You can expect to see more of Len'Noris Sellers on the ground. There's not a better quarterback running the ball than what Len'Noris Sellers is. He had 18 missed tackles by himself against Clemson. You think I'm lying? Go use Google. Go do your research. The numbers don't lie. The dude is a tank when he gets the ball in the open field, and he gradually improved throughout the season as a passer. Now, the passing game, I don't believe it's the end-all, be-all for South Carolina this year. This is still a team that's going to want to run the football. This is going to be a run-centric offense, but when they do throw the football, they will be more efficient at it due to, one, the development of Len'Noris Sellers as a passer based off what he did during the second half of last season and the improvements that he has made throughout spring and summer, fall camp. We're going to see this passing offense ramp it up a notch. Two, not just because Len'Noris Sellers has improved as a passer that you're going to see a better passing attack out of South Carolina, but they also have what should be the deepest receiver room that South Carolina has had in recent memory. I mean, they have a lot of talent at receiver. Now, they don't have a lot of proven production at receiver, but they have guys who returned from last year, like Nyck Harbor, who everybody is expecting to have this huge breakout season because the dude is a clone of DK Metcalf. If you put DK Metcalf in a cloning machine, you will get Nyck Harbor. The dude is one of the most freakiest athletes in the world, has Olympic-like speed, and he's 6'5", 240 pounds. He's built like a defensive end. He's built like a Ford F-150, but he somehow happens to play wide receiver, which he's been gradually learning that position. And this season, with the speed, with the refinement that he's now starting to get when it comes to the nuances of playing receiver, you can see him break out. But Nyck Harbor isn't the only receiver that you have to worry about on South Carolina this year. Mazeo Bennett. Last year, he was a true freshman, and he finished second in receiving yards on South Carolina. He's a good route runner, creates a lot of separation. He's pretty shifty after the catch as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being the best receiver on South Carolina's team this year. Because unlike Nyck Harbor, Mazeo Bennett is more refined and has just more natural ability playing this position. He's going to be the guy that Len'Noris Sellers is looking to go to in third down situations. This is going to be his security blanket. Now, you also have a former transfer from Coastal Carolina that was a gadget player for the Chanticleers. Last year, he didn't really get that much opportunity to prove himself. Well, this year, you can expect Jared Brown to step up. He's going to be not only a very good deep threat, but he's going to be a gadget player in this offense. Because when he was at Coastal Carolina, he played a little bit of running back as well. So he kind of has a little bit of a Deebo Samuel skill set in him, although he doesn't have the size and power and physicality that Deebo Samuel possesses. You could see him used in a similar role. And they have talked about how South Carolina wants to be a little bit more versatile with how they utilize all of their wide receivers. So you have a bunch of veteran receivers that come into this season having the skill set to do a variety of different things. Now, the veteran receivers aren't the only thing to worry about when it comes to South Carolina's passing attack, because they have one of the best recruiting classes that they have had in recent memory when it comes to what they have at receiver. You know, they brought in 6 freshman receivers this year. 4 of them were 4-star recruits. And their crown jewel of this recruiting class was Malik Clark. He is from around the area. He was a top 150 recruit. Expect him to have an instant impact for South Carolina's offense right out the gate, because he's a great route runner and he gets open. He already made a few plays throughout spring that South Carolina was buzzing about. If you run good routes and you get open, it's hard to keep you off the field. In South Carolina, they're going to have to rotate more guys in that receiver. And a guy like Malik Clark is just too good to not get involved. If you just get open and you can run good routes, more times than not, you end up being a really good receiver. They also have Brian Rowe, who also was highly touted by South Carolina coming out of high school. He moves like a pinball. He's very shifty in the open field. He had a really strong performance in South Carolina spring game. He had 5 catches for 45 receiving yards. So look out for him as well. He could get a good amount of playing time this year. If they have a few guys that go down due to injuries, they have more than enough true freshmen who can come in and fill the role for those guys. So that's just a few of the true freshmen that I believe could end up having an immediate impact for South Carolina this year. Let's not forget that they also have Donovan Murph, who is 17 years old. He reclassified from the 26 recruiting class to the 25 recruiting class. He's very physical. Physicality is the name of his game. He had over 1,300 receiving yards, 96 catches in his final season in high school. Only at 17 years old. This dude is a man-child, so maybe he could end up being the Ryan Williams of South Carolina. But, you know, with all of the talent that South Carolina has at receiver, the chemistry that Len'Noris Sellers is going to have with Mike Shula calling the plays, I expect for South Carolina's offense to be incredibly improved this year, man. And don't even get me started on the offensive line. Yeah, the offensive line has been an issue since Shane Beamer first arrived in South Carolina. I don't think the offensive line is going to be that much of an issue this year. You have an All-American type player in Josiah Thompson at left tackle. You've done a really good job at developing the offensive line over the last couple of years. I don't think the offensive line is going to be a weakness for South Carolina anymore. And I think overall, with the improvements that they've made on the offense side of football, it more so proves the point that nobody should be overlooking South Carolina. If you are sleeping on South Carolina, once again, the Beamer boys are going to teach you the same lesson that they've been teaching this conference and the rest of college football for over the last few years that Shane Beamer has been the head coach. You never count out the Beamer boys.